After drawing anatomy for 10 days, I knew how to draw the basics of anatomy. I knew how to draw each body part, but having a look at my drawings, something was missing. My drawings were stiff and lifeless. Drawing more accurate wasn't the solution to bringing life to my drawings. I couldn't find any movement or gesture in my drawings. Speaking of movement and gesture, I remembered I had tried learning gesture drawing, a drawing method mainly indicating the movement and pose of a figure, on my third day of drawing anatomy. At the time, because gesture drawing was hard, I came up with the excuse that gesture drawing wasn't necessary for getting better at drawing anatomy. I thought my drawings would look good once I got through the basics of anatomy. But however much time I spent on the drawing, I couldn't get it to life. Now finding the need for gesture drawing, I finally challenged myself to learn gesture drawing for 5 days. I'll share with you the tips and tricks and everything on what I learned on gesture drawing for 5 days. Let's begin. The main focus in gesture drawing is the movement. In cartoons, we can't see much detail if something is moving fast, like the legs of a running character. And we also add lines or after images to show fast movement. Likewise, to indicate movement, you can show less detail and lead the viewer's eyes toward the direction of movement. So, in gesture drawing too, simplify the figure and emphasize the lines that indicate movement. Don't overwork the gesture drawing and simplify the figure to a single united flow. Draw the line that has the strongest impression and make that line the main flow. Use this line as a starting point to express action and movement, and then add secondary lines to the main flow. Of course, you can always use more than one main flow, but having a single flow is better at leading direction. Exaggerate the curves, creating bumps and lumps, emphasizing movement, but also keep a balance so the figure is still convincing. Drawing symmetrically gives balance, but makes the figure rigid and stiff. So keep the figure asymmetric while maintaining balance by offsetting the bumps and lumps. To exaggerate, squash and stretch the torso, pushing and pulling the rib cage, pelvis, and limbs. Simplify the arms and legs by tapering them. Remember, every part of the body is movable, so exaggerate the entire body. Also, don't be a slave of reference, trying to copy the exact image. Our goal is to obtain movement in gesture drawing, not accuracy. A tip on this is to draw in two-dimensional shapes. The figure is three-dimensional, of course, but anything drawn in 3D looks paused and stable. Capturing the figure and drawing it in 2D shapes brings more action, and it helped me find more freedom and confidence to draw in simple gestures a little different from the reference. Now that you know the main concept of gesture drawing, I'll share with you 4 tips that helped me level up my gesture drawings efficiently and progressively. Tip number 1. Draw less. Drawing simple means you're going to have to draw less, drawing the specific lines of movement only. Drawing these specific lines are going to take time at first, so you're going to be slow. But beginners like me tend to draw at regular speed, drawing irrelevant lines too. Instead, draw a stroke, pause, think, then draw another. Don't push yourself at first. Once you practice drawing in a gestural way, you'll get faster when you get used to it. Draw less and draw slowly in the early stages. Don't move your hand faster than your brain can think. Tip number 2. Add value. Adding value gives so much information of the form, making the gesture more convincing with just one simple stroke. Since we know the basics of anatomy, you can have an anatomic borderline in mind, adding the values according to the surface of the muscle and skin. Drawing with a pencil with an overhand grip or loose grip, drawing from the elbow, was helpful for adding value and in just overall gesture drawing. Tip number 3. Scribble. I know what I said on tip number 1 to draw less. Drawing less is important, but also drawing freely in scribbles can help you focus more on the movement and rhythm. Draw through the forms instead of drawing the outline or silhouette. This technique gives more freedom and is honestly more fun. Keep a balance between tip number 1 and 3. Draw less, practicing simplified strokes, and also draw in scribbles to practice focusing on the flow and rhythm. Practicing both techniques will extremely level up your gesture drawing. Tip number 4. Time yourself. Once you have some experience on gesture drawing, challenge yourself by limiting your time on drawing your gesture drawings. This is a great way to increase your agility, and it helps you avoid drawing the unnecessary details. Only try this after you've had some practice on tip number 1, or you'll really just be scribbling. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Gesture drawing is key to bringing your figure to life. Before, I was too carried away on learning anatomy, so I skipped my gesture drawing course that I was initially going to learn before learning muscles. But to think of it now, learning gesture drawing after going through the basics of anatomy was actually not bad. At the end of the day, learn at your own pace, not stressing or wearing yourself out. The key is to have fun. Have fun gesture drawing, and let's get better together. Take it easy.